Hi, and this is Chris, and welcome to the first game review on my new chess uh, channel, Chris Chess Corner. I'm going to be showing you a game, a quick game that was played on with Hop Pawn against myself and a fellow player called M Pool. Now, my style of play is attack. It's my old team captain, Colin Goodchild, used to describe it as do or die. And it's literally that. My attack either works or I die. If you can withstand my attack, you stand a better chance of uh, beating me. Now, my attacks can result in amazing ends, quick, short games, or they can last for a while, and they can end very badly for me too. Um, it's not to say that I can't defend. But what happens normally is I set up an attack and I don't have a proper foundation. I don't have a contingency in case my attack fails. And that's where things start to fall apart. If you see my other chess videos on my other channel, you've seen I've not always been white all the time. In fact, this is the first game I'm going to show and upload where I'm actually white. Now, my normal opening is Bishop Sacrifice, which I think you're beginning to see already. Now this game is going to be ideal to show you the Bishop Sacrifice and how it works beautifully. Um, Before the game even begins, each side has one weakness. Now each of the pawns on both sides is protected by a major piece or an officer except for one, the king. They kind of don't consider the king as an officer. They want him protected and defended. Now, every piece has a bishop defending it, or in case of the two pawns in front of the king, they have a knight. They have like three pieces protecting them. The queen's pawn has the knight, the bishop, and the queen protecting her pawn. The king has the same. Now, the weakness is f7 and f2, the king's bishop pawn, because the only big piece defending it is the king, and you don't want it coming out in the middle. So that's my idea. At the beginning of the game, you want to start planning on how you want to kill the king. You want to know how to trap it, and that's the end goal of chess, and that's my whole synopsis of playing chess. The faster I can kill your king, the faster, the better for me. Okay, so to get it going quick, this opening exploits that weakness and it allows me to play some really interesting games. Okay, so we just start off with a normal e4, pawn to e5. This kind of opening is normal. People expect the Royal Lopez. Black replies knight to f6. Now he's expecting, quite normally, that I would either bring out my knight to protect, or bring out my other knight to attack his pawn, or possibly pawn to d3 to protect my pawn on e4. Certainly not what I played. Pawn to c3, which is a strange opening indeed. Um, People just expect those other moves that I suggested. It throws people off their game. And that's the whole um, idea behind this opening is it's about creating supplies and taking a full advantage of your opponent's confusion. He goes to bishop c5. Now he's attacking my pawn on f2. He hasn't taken the bait of taking the pawn because I played him before with the same opening, and he just wants to get his king safe as fast as possible, and maybe try my own attack against myself. I play knight to f3. Now I'm attacking his pawn. I mean, this could be a questionable move for white. I mean, it's certainly an interesting one, but I decided to go for it, and it stopped him castling for one extra move because he had to do something about that pawn. So he pushed pawn to d6 to defend. Okay, so no more delays. I can't risk the king from castling. So bishop takes f7, check. Okay, so it's check. Black has to do something about this. He can't stay in check forever. Now, everyone's instinct is to take the bishop, which is in fact what he does do. What you should do is just leave it alone and move the king safely elsewhere. Taking the bishop just allows me to become more active and carry on with my planning, as you're about to see. King takes bishop. He's now out of check. My next move, knight g5, check. Now here there is a number of different moves black could have done to get out of check. Could have gone back to e8, e7, or f8. Either of these were a possibility. However, though, he played king to g6, and this move cost him the game. We're only 6 moves into the game, and right now, here and now, I knew how I was going to mate him. His king is now trapped behind. He cannot get back. The only two squares he only one square he has to move is h6. And like I said before in one of my other videos, if the enemy king is down to only having one square to go, you better start smelling how to kill your king. Okay, so I knew from here that he's going to try push my knight back by pushing his pawn to h6. So I've got to try and keep him busy. So my next move is d4, attack the bishop. Half the problem too is my pieces are in the way for what I want to do. Because I want to get my queen to d3 and give check. But my pawn on e4 is in the way. So he replies back, takes the pawn. Now if I wasn't going for a kill, I possibly would take back. But no. My plan is to get my pieces out of the way. I'm now attacking his knight. He can't push the pawn to attack mine because he would lose his knight. And he doesn't want to do that. Plus to him, he sees a free pawn. Like, I push the pawn up, nothing's protecting it. So, why not? D takes e4. I mean e5, check. So, now here comes the plan. Queen check. Once again, he now has only 2 squares to go. h6 or h5. He could have put his knight in the way, but he would have lost it. He could have pushed the pawn, but again, he would have lost the exchange. but perhaps in hindsight that would have been best. He could have even put the bishop in front of the knight and blocked the check that way. However, he chose king to h5. Okay. From this point on, let me put it like this so you can see better. It is now checkmate in 4 moves. I want to know if you can see. I know it may be a little bit harder for beginners to see that far ahead. So let me go ahead and show you what my move is. Queen to f3. So queen f3, check. So now it's only checkmate in 3 moves. Do you see it? Okay, so you know black king is in check from the queen. He can't take the knight because it's protected by the bishop. The bishop hasn't even moved off the starting square, and it's extremely strong if you haven't noticed. Okay, so the king can come forward. It could go back to, or he could put a piece in front of it. Again, it's something that he should have done. He went king to 8, back to g6, which is a lot of mistakes so far. To be honest, I thought it was checkmate forced, but I've noticed that he made a lot more mistakes now, which goes to prove the point that it's not the one mistake that you make, it's the second and third. Okay, so anyway, next is pawn up from here. Pawn to h4. Now he does queen to d5. Now it's checkmate in 2, forced. And you're going to see something that you don't see pretty much too often. Okay, so checkmate in 2. To help you out a little bit, the only square the king can go to, again, is h6. The square on f7 is blocked by the knight. The square on f5 is blocked by the queen. h5 is blocked by the queen again. Okay. So we're going for a checkmate in 2. The answer is 1. Pawn up, h5, check. King cannot take back because it's protected by the queen. The only square the king has is h6. The next move is knight to f7, and we have a double checkmate. He's in checked by the bishop, which has never moved from the game yet, and he's also going to be in check from the knight. Checkmate in 2 different ways at the same time. Double check, double checkmate. And the bishop gets to kill him. So it looks like after going through this game, the Emperor, I thought, only made one mistake by bringing the king out. Turns out he made a couple of mistakes by not putting the pieces in the way that he could at the correct time. Again, a lot of my games and chess is down to a lot of luck. And the luck being that your opponent makes the wrong move. But that is chess. And that just shows you some of my type of game that I do play against you. My opening can put you off your own game. Obviously, he got confused. His whole plan was set up to castle kingside and have a nice normal game. And my opening destroys that quite quickly, and that's that. Alright, that's the end of that game, and I hope you join me for more. Bye bye.